All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Thursday. We got a lot of stuff going on today. Yeah. Yeah. So today we have massive GDP and jobless claims going live at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Expected for GDP is expected today at a. Hold on. Let me pull up the expected numbers that I have on my charts. So I am showing GDP today. We got durable goods. I'm showing GDP is expected at minus 0.2%. I thought I saw it was updated to a positive, but one place I'm showing negative. What is today's GDP expectation? Let me look this up. What do you guys see for the expectation for GDP today? Because one of them showing positive 0.2, the other one I'm showing negative 0.2. Yeah, I'm showing. Let me look somewhere else. Because I'm showing minus 0.2%. Ooh. Okay, yeah, minus 0.2% is what it's looking like. We'll see. So expected at minus 0.2%. There we go. We also had Walgreens earnings recently drop. All right, so America's view on the U.S. economy worsened in June with the Conference Board's consumers' confidence sliding to 93, down 5.4 points from 98.4. Durable goods are expected to show a significant rebound of 8.5 after a minus 6.3 the previous month. It's due today. GDP growth rate consensus forecast is minus 0.2%. Jobless claims expected to be around 245,000. It's due today. Continuing claims expected at 1.9 million. Yeah. Nvidia is at record highs at 156 as we speak. So Nvidia stock has broken all-time highs as of this morning. So Nvidia stock has broken all-time highs as of this morning again. Previous all-time highs was 154. We are now at 156. Or I think the previous all-time high for Nvidia was 153. So, yes, this is just the final number for the past quarter, correct? What's up, Lee? What's up, DX? What's up, Sam? Yeah, the apparent ceasefire has contributed to a calmer geopolitical environment, but the market could get bumped back down if more trouble stems overseas. So it certainly could happen. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Can y'all hear the music? You should be able to. Sub DX. Yeah, look at Nvidia though, man. Like Nvidia is making a move here. Look at this. Nvidia all the way up to 156. Crazy, crazy. AMD popping. Yeah, AMD microchips are popping it again. Nvidia all the way up to 156. And so Fed Jerome Powell reiterated to a Senate committee on Wednesday that the Fed is in no hurry to cut interest rates, and they're waiting for more data on how tariffs affect the economy and inflation. The president signed a proclamation to increase tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from 25 to 50% effective June 4th. Tariff on steel and aluminum from the UK remains at 25% with possible changes depending on the trade status. In China, U.S. is enforcing 55% tariffs, consisting of a 10% reciprocal base tariff and a 20% International Emergency Economic Powers Act tariff and an existing 25% tariff. They offered some expedited export approval for civilian use of rare earth materials or minerals. The 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs is expected to expire on July 9th. And so we're looking at that as well. Canadian tariffs consist of Canada's prime minister stated that Canada will impose new tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum on July 21st, depending on the progress of trade talks. Looking into the Court of International Trade ruling in May of 25 that the IEEPA tariffs are illegal, which could significantly reduce tariff impact and negative GDP effects if permanently enjoined. Fed Powell noted the unprecedented nature of the current tariff scenario and makes analyzing its impact on inflation challenging. And that's essentially why he blamed that they haven't cut rates yet. The large annual fiscal deficits are a concern. Extending the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Acts could add approximately $4 trillion to the federal deficit. Oil prices have stabilized. If we take a look at oil as of now, AMD almost at 150. Here's oil. Oil down to $65. Although oil hasn't really gone down anymore. The market's mostly running from Nvidia and microchip gains. Treasury yields have held pretty steady though. If we take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield right now, you can kind of see 10-year Treasuries currently sitting at 4.277%, 4.277%. So if we take a deeper look at this here, where is it? There it is. Treasury yield sitting at about 4.277. You can see how much they've decreased though. Like these were at 4.5% a week ago. So yeah, we are currently at 4.27% for Treasury yields, down significantly, which is good, Thank you, Sam. Yeah, y'all do me a favor, hit the like button as you join the stream, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. All right, so GIS upgraded at RBC Bank and MGM was downgraded at Citizens Bank. We got some Bank of England members speaking, but look at bond yields. There's bond yields there. And you can also look at the rate cut odds here. So looking at rate cut expectations now. Rate cut odds are currently at 25% next month. So not crazy, 25% roughly. 75% likelihood of a pause, but 25% likelihood of a rate cut. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, it's possible. We'll see. And again, I think we got some really obvious momentum and strength today. Some really good momentum and strength. So we'll see if that follows through. Yeah, but today at 8:30, I'm going to put a timer up. Let me get my timer up here. Today at 8:30, we have durable goods, we have jobless claims, we have GDP data and more. So you can see the timer right there. We got it live now. Let me know if the music's good. It should be pretty solid. I don't know. I don't know if we get a new Fed chairman by September. I don't think so, personally, but maybe. I mean, I don't think so, though. All right, so we also had some Nvidia news. Cyanogen partnered with Nvidia to showcase autonomous industrial vehicles at Automatica 2025. So this happened. This news right here happened. Helping Nvidia pop up. There was also a report. The two reasons market's up are the truce news and Nvidia. So the S&P posted its smallest daily move since 2017 on Wednesday. The market's go-to drivers of growth were back. Nvidia rose on signs of demand for AI chips. Strong earnings from its smaller peer Micron helped as well. You can see Micron had earnings, and Micron gapped up from earnings up to 130s. Definitely helped propel Nvidia a little bit higher here. It took me a little while to understand the joke, Sam. Why is the beach wet? Because the seaweed. I feel like my son would like it. It took me a little while to get, if you don't get it, because the seaweed. Yeah. So yeah, let's do a poll here, guys. Let's do a poll here. All right, so we got our poll going live here, and the poll is going to say, will today's jobless claims and GDP reports. We also have durable good orders that might move markets as well. But the question is going to be, will today's jobless claims and GDP data help or hurt the market? Basically cause bullish or bearish response. What? There we go. All right, vote on the poll. Poll is now live. Let me know how you feel there. Yeah, it took me a little while to get it too. Wee means to pee. So because the sea weed. There you go. It took me a little while to understand it too, but if you need help, just ask AI. Yeah, I mean, they did a deal with Nvidia, so Cyanogen, I don't know how to pronounce this. Cyanogen up 95% in pre-market. Look at this deal with Nvidia. Flying up. Again, bump that like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much here. I do have to make sure I have sub-only mode clocked in. Yeah, we do not. I'm going to throw this mug in sub-only mode. So hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Wait. I'm trying to put it in sub-only mode. Okay, any duration. See, it keeps telling me changes were saved. I don't know if it lets me put it in sub-only mode. I'm trying. Sub, any duration. Save. Changes saved. Are we in sub-only mode right now? Weird. I don't know. Trying to put it in sub-only mode, but it won't let me. It's very strange. Save. See, it says changes saved, but then it won't do it. Yeah, very strange. What's up, Lee? I have to go somewhere else. Hold on. Where's my live streaming? Yeah, because I like StreamYard, but if it doesn't let me put it in sub-only mode. Anybody watch the UFC BJJ? It was honestly really good. Like, I'm biased because I like BJJ. But still, it's honestly really solid. Trying to get to Friday. Yeah, tomorrow we have PCE inflation data, which is a big report. Like, this is a big release. PCE inflation, it's not small. It's very big. See, it's very weird, dude. Because I'm in StreamYard, it doesn't let me put it in sub-only mode, which is weird. It's off. I'm going to try logging out and logging back in. Maybe that'll help. All right, guys. So again, we're at 22,560s. We're right around it. It still depends on where people think we had all-time highs. Because again, on TOS it showed we hit all-time highs yesterday. Today we're at 22,560, which would be the new all-time highs right now if that's legit and valid. And so it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell whether that's legit and valid. If we look at others, you know, it shows. If If we look at others, it shows that the all-time highs are at 22.8. So we're still getting pretty close to that level here. And I think that's an important level to watch. If 22.8s are a level on some people's charts, I looked it up and a lot of people were like, yeah, we broke all-time highs yesterday, which we did on my charts. But, you know, let me know if you think we broke all-time highs yesterday or whether we still have to break 22.8s. I think it is. It's like 22.870 is what I think the all-time high level is. And I'm not sure. We'll see. But yeah. Okay, there we go. Now sub-only mode worked. Okay. So I set it to 1 minute. So if you subscribe, you can chat in 1 minute. Yeah, I don't know what, you know, I would set it to 0 minutes, but, you know, whatever. Yeah. I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks so much. But yeah, Nvidia had this big news breaking. At least it worked. I was working on it. Yeah, so John Jones retired the other day in MMA news. John Jones retired. And again, like, look, man, did I want to see him fight Tom Aspinall? Sure. But he's still probably the greatest MMA fighter ever, right? He never really lost, regardless of whether you agree with some of the decisions or not. He never really lost. He was incredibly dominant. You know, he moved up to heavyweight. I think that's probably one of the greatest MMA careers of all time, if not the greatest MMA career of all time. Now, I did want to see him fight Tom Aspinall. But at a certain point, there's always going to be another contender. And you can't really knock Jones for eventually wanting to retire and not wanting to, you know. So it's all good. It's all love for me. Shout out to John Jones. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about stock news all morning. You know, again, we talked about this already. Essentially, we got GDP data final revision coming out today. Nvidia is the cause of the market moving up. You know, you can see we have CYN here. So we've got CYN on the right side. It's gapping up 95 or it's gapping up like 100% basically right now based off of Nvidia deal. It did. So Nvidia did a deal with Cyanogen. I partnered with Nvidia to showcase autonomous industrial vehicles at Automatica. We posted this news earlier here, and you can kind of see, you know, it was a comment that we posted. And again, I asked people, do you think we broke all-time highs yesterday or not? Because everybody has different all-time highs, so it's hard to tell. Yeah, people mostly ask me about MMA news, so I'm just kind of responding to it because, you know. Okay, we got over 400 here already. Again, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate the love. I'm just looking at this chart. Is my chart frozen? No. Okay, I was about to say, I was looking at this chart right here. I wanted to make sure it wasn't frozen. We'll try to trade a little bit here as well. But again, the big news today, Nvidia ripping up over all-time highs. If we take a look at Nvidia here, again, the previous all-time high on Nvidia prior to yesterday was 153 something. Now Nvidia is all the way up at 156. If you look at the bottom right, so Nvidia at record highs. A lot of this is due to the ceasefire. as well as just Nvidia hype. Powell was kind of reluctant to comment on outlook. Didn't really want to get into it. He was grilled a lot on both sides for things, but he was reluctant to comment on outlook regarding rate decisions, the economy moving forward and stuff like that. Personally, I'm glad it was over with. I like when Powell speaks, and of course I stream every time Powell speaks, but I don't know how much information we got yesterday, and it was long. Yesterday was shorter than the previous day, though. The House is usually one that takes a long time, but and again, currently the tariff situation is that we have increased tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25 to 50%. Effective June 4th, tariffs on steel and aluminum from the UK remain at 25%. In China, US enforcing 55% tariffs, 10% reciprocal, 20% IEEPA tariff, and an existing 25% tariff, but they do have the 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs that's set to expire July 9th in a couple weeks. Again, Powell noted the unprecedented nature of these tariffs and the impact on inflation. Gauging it's challenging, he said. Fed's in a difficult position, and so that's why it's still looking a little bit more probable. Again, we talked about these odds earlier, but it's currently looking 25% likelihood of a rate cut next month of July. Now remember, it's at the very end of next month, so it's at the end of July, but still, I mean, a 25% potential rate cut odds is pretty hot right now, especially relative to what it was 3 weeks ago. It was at like 10%, and so it's more than doubled in 3 weeks, the odds of a rate cut in July. And again, if today, tomorrow, and next month are incredibly important months for economic data, because the situation in which these percentage odds would increase or decrease depends on economic reports. Today we have GDP. Tomorrow we have PCE inflation, which is a massive report because that's the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. That's what they look at to gauge inflation. Tomorrow's PCE data is expected. And we also have durable goods today, by the way. But tomorrow's PCE data is expected at 2.6% for the year for core PCE, 0.1% on the month for core PCE, regular PCE at 2.3% for the year, 0.1% year over year, I should say, not for this year, but year over year, basically relative to last year. 0.1% month over month for regular PCE. And then tomorrow we also have Michigan inflation expectations 1 year and 5 years, as well as consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment is expected to rise, and inflation expectations are expected to fall relative to what they were last, 2 weeks ago. And so now I believe tomorrow the Michigan data is the prelim data, which is usually a little bit more rangy, not rangy, a little bit more variance heavy. And so we'll see what that looks like. We also have the Atlanta Fed GDP now at 11:30 tomorrow. So a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I see some questions about John Jones. Look, I don't want to make it too MMA or jiu-jitsu centric here. If they pay him enough, he's going to fight. But I think he's probably retired. I don't think he wants to fight Tom Aspinall. I wouldn't either. Tom Aspinall's too young. He's too athletic. Jones is getting old. I can't really knock him for it. So there'll be an A+ setup today at some point. Just got to wait for it. Sam says, no news equals good news. Let the market be markets. Yeah, for sure. It's hard for me to watch because it's so cringe on both sides. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for somebody that's very politically neutral like me, it's hard to manage those streams, Like, I'm very politically neutral. What you have to understand leading into those streams like yesterday is that both sides of the political spectrum are going to posture. They're going to attack the other side, and that's just how it goes. And so I'm not really getting too involved on either side of this. And that's what I try to do ahead of each one of these streams is I'm not going to be like, yeah, and root for one side on any of that stuff. I'm just not. That's just not what I do. That's not what I am. I'm very politically neutral. And honestly, the whole thing becomes a little frustrating because both sides. It's not just one side here. And again, I get it. People are very tied to their political side or whatever it is, right? And I get it. I understand. I'm not even knocking that. But both sides essentially just blame the other side for the problems. And to a certain extent, the truth is somewhere in the middle, The truth is somewhere in the middle. And so I try to just stay out of it. And I hope you guys understand. Like, I'm very neutral politically. I'm not really getting involved with any of that stuff. And I don't think it's necessarily responsible for me to get involved with that stuff, running a public, news and trading stream. I just don't think that's my place. So, what's up, Faye? What we're talking about, Maj, is yesterday we had what's called the semi-annual monetary policy report with Jerome Powell. Twice a year, Jerome Powell testifies in front of the House, and then the next day the Senate, or sometimes it's reversed, I think. And again, this is the, House of Representatives. There's no term limits, and so, some of these guys are old. And basically both sides just they each get 5 minutes to just talk to Powell. And most of the time, they're just grilling him about whatever they can think of. But it just gets to be, it's too divisive. Anyways, we're consolidating up here after breaking all-time highs on the NQ. Again, Nvidia breaking all-time highs consistently, just broke all-time highs again just now. It's up to 156.44 is the new all-time high for Nvidia. Oil stabilizing down at 65. You can see AMD also on the rise. Palantir is ripping up as well. Palantir up to 144. And so we have this really interesting nuance of microchip stocks right now, where they're all roughly around 140s and 50s. Nvidia at 156, Palantir at 144, AMD. And Palantir is not really a microchip stock, just to clarify. It's more of a defense AI stock. So it's not a microchip stock, but we got these AI stocks is what I'm going to call it. And a lot of them are sitting right around 140s and 150s. AMD currently sitting at 147. Nvidia at 156. We have MU at 130. And so they're all roughly around the same price. A lot of tech is up. Yeah. And again, y'all do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Yeah, I mean, I feel your pull. I mean, I try not to judge anybody for their political stances, but it's hard sometimes, Yeah, so I'm looking at this 550 level. We're going to draw some levels on our charts right now. I'm going to look at 75 right here just because I think it's close enough to the all-time high up there. And we're going to look at 550 below us. We got kind of an isolated level here at 542, so we'll probably watch this as well. I think we got to look at 500s down here, And so these are the levels I'm looking at on the NASDAQ currently. Heading into GDP data coming out soon. I'm gonna see if I could switch this to I'm all right, I tried to switch sub-only mode to any duration now. There we go. So I switched it to sub-only mode, but it's any duration, so you don't have to be subscribed for a minute to chat. I appreciate it. Have the last couple streams been in sub-only mode or not? I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so we're seeing some more news on overseas stuff. If if we get negative GDP today, isn't that recession by definition? No, it's not. Why do you think it's a recession by definition, Margin Called Mike? Genuine question, brother. Why do you think that? Why do you think we'd be in a recession if we had negative GDP today? What quarter was negative last time? See, I think you have a misunderstanding in what it all means. So, okay, today's GDP report is the finalized version of quarter one. Okay, so it's the finalized version of quarter one. Quarter four, which is the quarter that precedes quarter one, which is quarter one's coming out, the finalized version of it today. Quarter four was what? What was quarter four 2024? Quarter four 2024 GDP was 2.4%. 2.4% annually. So, yeah. So definitely not negative. Yeah, so you got to understand, today is the finalized version. So this is what happens. All right, let me explain GDP, the GDP report today for you. Okay. So, you know, a quarter is 3 months, right? And so every month we get a GDP reading. What it is we get something called the initial estimate, which is the more variance heavy. It can be, you know, it's the more volatile number. And then we get the first revision. And then we get the second or final revision today. Right? And so quarter one of the quarter, or month one of the quarter, we get the initial estimate where they initially calculated. Second month, we get a little bit more recent update to that data. We get a little bit more updates, a little bit more accurate info. And so they update it again. It's called the first revision. And then the finalized version is what we get today. It's the third month. It's where we actually see what the previous quarter's GDP was, right? And that's today. And so if we get a negative print today, in order to be in a recession, technically, we'd have to have another negative quarter. So we still would have another negative quarter. So quarter two would have to be negative as well, which is certainly not looking like quarter two is going to be negative for GDP right now. It could, you never know. But yeah. Merck says, as of June 25th, cargo acceptance has been reopened. Or Marsk. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Correct. Today we have a revision for the previous print that we have. Yes, correct. That's what it is. We also have building permits today. So building permits for May. Or no, not for May. I'm sorry. Building permits for May showed up yesterday. What did they show up as? I have to go look. And then again, tomorrow we have PCE data. Building permits showed up at -2%. That's what they were expected. The previous month it was -4%. So building permits still negative, less negative than last time though. They came in at 1.394 million versus 1.393, basically as expected. We had new home sales show up weaker than expected as well. We had mortgage rates yesterday show up at 6.88%, a little bit higher than last time for 30-year MBA mortgage rate. And then again, we also have durable good orders today. Durable goods expected at 8.6%. So last time they came in at a negative 6.3% print. Today they're expected at positive 8.6. So expected to show a significant rebound of 8.5% after a 6.3% dip in the previous month. It's due today. Negative 0.2% growth is what's expected. We also have jobless claims, unemployment filings. Now, jobless claims today are the more recent update to unemployment. So if you want a more recent update to unemployment, jobless claims comes out every week. It tells you kind of where the unemployment situation is in the country. And today they're expected to be 245,000, which I believe is up a little bit relative to what it was last time. So last time jobless claims numbers for initial claims showed up at 245. Okay, so it's about the same. That's what it was last time. Today they're expecting 244, 245, roughly what they were the previous time. So that drops today, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time at 45 minutes as well. So we got a whole bunch of stuff coming out today, to be completely honest, like a whole bunch of stuff. And at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then at 10, we got pending home sales. You got some other members speaking. You got like Vice Chair Barr speaking at 1:15. You got the Fed's balance sheet update at 4:30 Eastern Time. So you got a bunch of stuff. But tomorrow, again, a very big day. Tomorrow, we got PCE inflation. We got Michigan consumer sentiment update, prelim data. I mean, so. Maersk, yeah. Yeah, last time we had negative GDP was in November of 2022. Now, that was a situation where you could say we were technically in a recession. It depends on how you look at it. You know, the big thing, I remember streaming back then. And the big thing that everybody said, some people were like, yeah, we're in a recession. And if we're going by the technical textbook definition, we kind of were. But it didn't last very long. And within the next few months, we rebounded pretty quickly. So I'd call it like a little mini recession just because it didn't last very long at all. But then the other side was like, hey, you know, we need high unemployment, which we don't have. And so, yeah. And people still reference that, you know, like I still hear people to this day be like, hey, bro, we're in a recession. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're positive in GDP. GDP is positive right now. And they're like, no, we changed the definition in 2022. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, but even with the old definition, we're not in a recession right now. Again, maybe we're headed towards one. We don't know. Again, if we get negative this month, if we get today's finalized negative GDP print, right? So if we come in at negative 0.2%, I also see some platforms show it at positive 0.2% expected today. So we might not have a negative number today, but let's say we do. Even with that, it's not looking like quarter two is going to be negative. If it is, that's the situation where we could justifiably say, hey, we're in a recession. We're just not there. We're just not there. We got some time. Yeah, MU, one of the reasons the market's up right now, and look at Nvidia rip again, just broke all-time highs again. It's at 156.67. I'm surprised the NASDAQ's not following it up more, to be honest. But one of the reasons this is all happening is because of MU. Look at MU. So MU had good earnings, gapped up to 137s, and it drug all the other AI and microchip stocks up with it. You know, the ceasefire news and the easing of stuff going down. But MU is one of the reasons the market's up, because look at MU gap up from its earnings, really solid gap up from earnings. And, you know, Nvidia also had the news that you can see at the bottom here. So you can see the bottom Nvidia news going on. So that's helping as well. Just a lot of stuff going on. All right, so look at Nvidia still push up. MU sitting at 130s. I do think it might have an influence over stocks moving forward because it's caused so much upward movement today. All right, so we're up to Nike earnings today. Yeah, so we got some earnings coming out today. If we take a look, we have Walgreens showed up earnings earlier. So Walgreens did have some earnings. We also had the Bank of England, Governor Bailey, when asked about sterling strength, says moves in FX have not been moving based on interest rate speculation. We had some earnings come out this morning, to be honest. They're already out mostly. And then this evening we're kind of heading back towards earnings season. We got Nike this evening and more. Is MU still holding up? Yeah, I mean, MU, it went up a lot, but then decreased. GDP data comes out, chat, in about 40 minutes, 37 minutes, really. So it comes out at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can see a timer in the, to the right of me. All right, so the NASDAQ pumping up again. Look at this, guys. So we're testing this 575 level we drew on the chart. Look at that, we tapped it. A lot of this is driven by Nvidia here. You can also see Apple on the top right. Apple at 201s. But look at us tap this level. And we have a video breakdown on how we find these levels coming out after the stream today. So we've got a video breakdown. But look at that tap on 575. Will Bitcoin be affected? Yeah, Bitcoin currently all the way up at 107. So it's decreased a little bit from the highs at 108s this morning. Maybe. So we just tapped 475. We got about 700 people here. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. We still got over 30 minutes left. CYN. So it's not that they're investing. I think Nvidia and CYN have some type of deal going on right now. We looked this news up earlier, but the news for CYN is Nvidia related. So Cyanogen partners with Nvidia to develop autonomous industrial vehicles. So CYN said today that it's partnering with Nvidia to use its robotics platform for developing autonomous vehicle services for industrial applications. So here's the full news here. And again, if you want to see it, this is the full news right here. You can see it at the bottom side of the screen. That is the news going on in Nvidia today. Is that they're partnering with Cyanogen Again, Nvidia still ramping higher here. Oh, coffee tastes good. Looking at more news coming out today, but it's a little quiet. But again, durable goods, GDP data, jobless claims, all dropping at 8:30. So we got a whole bunch of stuff, to be honest. We got jobless claims, durable goods, and the finalized version of GDP for last quarter coming out at 8:30 Eastern time. So just be ready. Ugh, dude, my nose is still stopped up. I had to use nose spray when I was sick. And you get like a rebound effect. So I've been off the nose spray now. But like now, it's almost like my nose has gotten worse. All right, so we're still testing 575. The new all-time highs on the NASDAQ are currently around 581. So again, it depends on which one you look at. Nvidia's still been breaking all-time highs over and over again this morning. It's at the 580, 156.76. 2 minutes ago, broke the most recent all-time high. So we'll see if Nvidia keeps breaking highs or what happens here. But yeah. All right, so we're still at 575. Nvidia just broke it again. Look at it, almost a 157. So it's at 156.80s for Nvidia, still breaking all-time highs. Wow. Making moves here. Will we keep breaking all-time highs? We did a poll earlier asking people. We'll see if we continue this, chat. All right, we're over that level. Look at Nvidia with the dip down. So Nvidia got up to almost 157. Now it's pulling back to 156 here. It's not really, I don't know if I necessarily want to attack this now. I think I have to just wait. And look at this move. Well, All right, so Nvidia right back up. Looking at our chat here. We still have 30 minutes left. Yeah, we got so much other stuff going on regardless, Ryan, so it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, Walgreens I used to be optimistic with. Like, I used to be kind of a Walgreens bull. The problem with Walgreens, though, and the issue that I have, it hasn't really moved since I was buying it, but the problem I have with it is simply the nature of pharmaceuticals and prescriptions are changing. And you can see companies like Hims take off, and you see companies like Walgreens lose hype. Why? Because less people are getting their prescriptions from physical pharmacies. They are instead ordering their prescriptions, and the prescriptions are getting shipped to them regularly instead of going wait in line at a pharmacy. And you know, that's essentially taking business away from Walgreens. But Walgreens has been pretty stagnant. It's actually up a little bit for 2025 this year. So Walgreens opened up this year at, like, if we take a look at Walgreens here, you know, it doesn't really move much anymore, but it's green on the year. So Walgreens opened up down here at 10s. It's now at 11. So it's up a little bit, but not a huge amount. All right, guys, here's Nvidia, or here's the NASDAQ testing all-time highs. Nvidia is right back up to that high level here. Jobless claims are expected at around 245,000 today, roughly 244, 245, somewhere around there. Looking at our poll numbers, 61% are bullish, 40% are bearish. So mostly bulls today. All right, chat. All right, we're up to 578, 75s right now. Very, very close to the NASDAQ. Whether you want to consider this all-time highs or not, Nvidia just popped up to almost 157. It got up to 156.90 here. So it's getting close here. Honestly, it really is getting close. It's getting very close. All right, so there's the high break on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ up to 582s here, chat, 582s. Let's see if we hold that 575 level, but look at Nvidia up to 147s here. Just driving higher. We had the Mexican trade balance come out at 8 a.m. Fidelity and Visa deepen their relationship to provide regional and community banks with easier access to powerful payment capabilities. The SOFR rate came in at 4.36% for June 25th, which was yesterday, versus 4.3% for June 24th. So you can see how much some of the financing rates changed. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm kind of snipping a picture of this. All right, we're at 575s. Nvidia at 157s. I think 157 whole dollar level on Nvidia is probably pretty relevant. No. Hey, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, I'm not sure the short float on CYN. I'm sure it's probably kind of high. AMD ripping up too. If we take a look at AMD here, at almost 148. AMD is kind of keeping up with Nvidia here in terms of strength. You know, not quite the same, but getting better. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's a little bit weaker this morning, but it's up there. I mean, the truth was good for them. All right, so Hegseth says Iran's capabilities with enrichment were decimated, in quotes. I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying. So we're starting to see some pullback here on the NASDAQ here. Not a crazy big pullback. This is a 5-minute chart. I'm going to put up a 1-minute chart just for the economic reports we got coming out. So let's put a thing up here so you can kind of see. I'll put a banner up here so you can kind of see. But yeah, today we got GDP. GDP is expected at minus 0.2%. Jobless claims are expected at 245K. Durable goods orders. What are durable goods orders expected? So durable good orders are expected today. All right, guys, we got 20 minutes. Durable good orders today are expected at 8.6% month over month. 8.6% month over month. So okay, so we'll put this up so you can see a full breakdown of what's going on. When does Tesla delivery numbers come out? And let me take a look at Tesla today. So AMD flying up, testing 148s right now. Here's Tesla. Tesla at 320s. Okay. Taking a look at When's the next Tesla delivery release? Am I off with this? Let me see. Forgive me. All right, so we're consolidating around that previous level of 575. So July 1st or 2nd is usually when the next Tesla delivery numbers, if we go by the previous history. So we got a couple days, like a week or so. And again, we got, remember, all right, so again, today's GDP expected at minus 0.2%. And this is regarding the quarter over quarter, quarter one GDP. So the finalized version of that data is coming out today. So you pay attention to it. All right, so we got initial jobless claims as the second most important reading. Look at Tesla rip up to 329s, Nvidia at 157, still trying to break that number here. And we're going to get ready to plug this in. Yeah, I mean, whether we're in a recession is going to depend on this current quarter, which isn't going to be finalized for months now. So, all right, chat, 15 minutes. What's up, Jason? Hey, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, brother. Bitcoin signs weekend buy momentum. Nvidia 157, wall of sellers. Yeah, Nvidia's hitting that 157 level now. So we'll see if we can hit it or not. But NASDAQ come back down a little bit. We can see Tesla dip. Apple's kind of slow right now. AMD is another reason, obviously. I think AMD and 150 are kind of getting attracted to each other. So 150 and AMD are kind of big levels here. So we're going to be watching 150 for AMD, see if we can get up there. We got a pretty significant dip here. We might buy this dip. Let me see. We'll take one micro contract here. Maybe add two. Oh, no, this is a regular contract. I'm out. We made money somehow on that, but not a lot. I got to switch to micros. Oops. There we go. That's better. I should have held, honestly. It would have worked beautifully, dude. Now I'm a little FOMO buying into it, but look at that retracement back up there. The problem is, like, the bottom can just fall out, and I don't want to get the bottom falling out. The range is honestly kind of small, but we got two big down wicks. Let's see if we rebound back up quickly. Again, we got less than 15 before GDP comes out. So we got a good little position here, though, so it's fine. Let's just see if it holds. I forgot my light here. I got this fancy new light. go. Does the light make it better? Let me see. Yeah. I'll try to hold this close to break even. I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's just honestly smaller than I expected it to be, though. It's a weird looking candle. How you guys doing today? Definitely top 3 paper hands. All right, so we are moving up a little bit. That's nice. But then we came right back down. I don't know if the market's just waiting for GDP or whatever, but it's not really going anywhere. Yeah, we'll cut it mostly. We'll cut it and get out mostly flat here. I just don't like this breakdown. Might be time to buy. Look at Nvidia come back down too. So Nvidia tapped 157. You know, and there's a concept I talk about. Again, I'm debuting a video today. In the video, we talk about some very specific nuances of trading that we've been using that have to do with all-time highs. So very specific nuance we use for trading that have to do with all-time high levels and how they influence things. Hey, what's up, Chuck? Hey guys, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. We got over 1,000 here already. We got 11 minutes left, give or take, until GDP data, jobless claims, durable goods come out. All right, so U.S. Senator Warren says the U.S. president is standing in the way of interest rates coming down, end quote. Again, it's political, so I'm not really saying I agree or disagree. I'm just reporting the news that I see coming at me. Maybe I should have held it, but Nvidia coming back down. We do have this level here. If GDP comes out higher, I don't know. I think the market can honestly go either way. I mean, this is the finalized version of GDP, so we'll have to wait and see, but I honestly think it could come out either way. I think the market wants rate cuts. And so I think if GDP comes out stronger than expected, it's going to be an argument against rate cuts, and the market might not necessarily react to that as positive as they can, or we could get the other way, you know. This is my actual funded account. Oh yeah, it is negative. My bad. Here, let me put this up. Let me fix this. It is negative. Here we go. So again, negative 0.2% is what's expected in 9 minutes. All right, guys, so we're still dipping down a little bit. As we get closer to this report, I'm going to be less likely to trade. I'm just going to wait, I think. Yeah, both sides want rate cuts to a certain extent, you know. It's just one of those situations where we're going to cut this year almost certainly. You know, not almost certainly, but it's pretty likely. I wouldn't say almost certainly. There's still like a 20% chance maybe we don't cut this year. I have to look at what the odds are for that. But we have to have weak economics to justify the cuts. if the labor market's strong, Powell's always going to say the labor market doesn't show weakness. Why should we cut? Because they want low inflation and a strong labor market. And to a certain extent, they could argue that now. I'm not saying I agree with that, but it's certainly like when you look at the numbers, you could argue that. Again, I'm not saying I agree with it. Is there more anticipation for this much GDP news because of the Powell testimonies? I don't know. Maybe not though. You never know. Like you really don't. We'll see. Yeah, hit the live button, Ty. You might be a little late, brother. We updated that already, so you might be a little bit behind the stream, bro. Hit the live button next to the play button, chat. Make sure you're fully caught up on the stream. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. Did you see the Fed meeting yesterday, specifically on SLR? Sounds super bullish. It was implemented. Banks will have access to additional 27% of capital that was required held as reserve. Yeah, maybe. The reason the market's up right now is Nvidia broke all-time highs. Nvidia broke all-time highs for a number of different reasons. A lot of it's due to the ceasefire news, to be honest. But there's a lot of reasons. Nvidia just ripping up. Applied Digital. Yeah, I've heard some people talk about APLD recently. At $10 a share right now. It's looking a little rough. Doesn't mean it's over yet. I mean, remember, at June 1st, this thing was at 650s. So being at 10 is still a pretty big percentage higher. It was at 330s in April. So it's up a lot. It's just not going to go straight up. I don't know. It's too cheap for me to buy it. I'm not really interested in buying anything this cheap. Yeah, gold currently sitting, chat. If we take a look at it, gold all the way down to 3350s. 3350s for gold. AMD, Nvidia, and other microchip stocks ripping up. MU had good earnings yesterday, at least a positive reaction to the earnings, and that caused a lot of microchips to go higher. That's one of the root causes of all this. All right, chat, we got 6 minutes left. 6 minutes. Again, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Yeah, you can also give me a follow on X. All right, guys, gold coming down. I was saying you might be a little delayed on the stream, Ty. You were telling me you were a little bit late in telling me I forgot the negative on the GDP data. If you look below me, it's now at negative 0.2%. Robotaxi had issues. Yeah, I mean, all right, we're in this little mini downward trend here. You can kind of see it leading into the GDP report in about 5 minutes. Tesla stock dropped yesterday primarily due to weak European sales. So the European Automobile Manufacturers Association reported that Tesla's new car registrations in the European Union were down over 40% year over year in May. It marks the 5th consecutive month of declines for them in the region, even as overall battery electric BEV registrations have consistently moved higher, up 25% year over year. It indicates a loss of market share for Tesla in this region, and so Tesla dropped. Concerns about Q2 delivery numbers that should be coming out early next week. Tesla should have Tuesday or Wednesday delivery numbers come out. We're going to cover it, of course, as we always do. But yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah, we got 4 minutes left. We got over 1,300 viewers here. So subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thanks so much. Again, GDP releases today. It's a big report. Hit the live button. We're going to cover it as soon as it drops. You ready? Yeah, I'll put the timer in a better spot, I think, so that you can still see it. Yeah, Tesla's crazy, man. It's hard to. Generally, it goes up long term, but the swings are crazy. It's super polarizing of a stock for sure. All right, guys. Hey, here we go. We got 3.5 minutes left. GDP data going live in 3.5 minutes. Yeah, I don't see any news on a bill passing. All right, guys, 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Gold just surged up. Look at gold. So I'm going to put gold up on the top right ahead of GDP. Look at gold. Gold just surged up 33.56 for gold right now. It says U.S. Senate parliamentarians have struck a massive blow to Republican Medicaid cuts, according to Punchbowl's Weiss, citing Senate budget dims. NASDAQ popping up with us here. Gold moving up. Here we go, guys. We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you are following us here. We got a couple minutes left until this report releases. So stick around. We're going to cover it as soon as it comes out. In 2 minutes. Again, we got GDP data. It's expected at minus 0.2%. Last time it showed up at minus 0.2%. We got jobless claims expected at 245. Last time they showed up at 245. We got durable good orders month over month expected at 8.5%. 8.5%. Last time they showed up at a negative number here, guys. So we got a lot of stuff coming out. Be ready. And yeah, here we go. 1 minute. Again, before this data comes out, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream here. We got a video on the right side. We got gold on the top right, and we have the NASDAQ 100 on the left side here. So here we go. We got about 40 seconds. Again, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you are fully caught up on stream. Be ready here. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. $20 seconds. 20 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button, Chad. Make sure you catch up. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's the report right now. All right, guys. So this data showed up. Durable goods showed up at 16.4%, 16.4%. GDP showed up at negative 0.5%. Negative 0.5% quarter over quarter for GDP. Negative 0.5% quarter over quarter for GDP data. Chat. Jobless claims. Again, negative 0.5% GDP. Wow. Not good. Jobless claims ended up showing 236. 236, but man. Showed negative 0.5% for GDP. And that's the finalized version. Jobless claims showed 236 versus 246 expected, or 245. And durable goods month over month showed up at a positive, what was it? A positive for durable goods, 16.4%. Versus 8.6% expected. I'm assuming this drops markets. Negative GDP data. Again, GDP data, negative 0.5%. Jobless claims was better. I'm assuming this makes markets go down. This is not a good report. Negative GDP at negative 0.5% for quarter one 2025. We'll put this data up on screen, but this is not good. Not good. Jobless claims were good. Jobless claims showed stronger than expected, but GDP was negative 0.5%. Durable goods were pretty good as well. But again, negative GDP data here, chat. We'll put this up on screen, but negative 0.5%. We'll put a banner up here so you can see it. But man, look at the NASDAQ dump. I'm expecting we're getting drops right now. I'm expecting we're getting drops. Again, durable goods showed up at 15.5% for core. Regular durable goods showed up pretty high too, so that's good. Jobless claims showed 236. We're gonna put all this up on screen so you can see it. You're welcome. But man, definitely not good. There's all the data right here. Negative 0.5%. Negative 0.5% GDP data. Look at the NASDAQ tumble here. Guys, tumbling down for GDP data. I don't know. You could say negative is good, but, you know, if you want rate cuts, sure. But it still means a much weaker U.S. economy in Q1 than expected. Much weaker economy in Q1 relative to the last revision. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to clarify one thing here. I've seen a couple people today be like, oh, we're in a recession. The last GDP was negative. You don't understand GDP data, guys. Listen, I'm not insulting you, but please listen to me. This is for Q1 2025. Every quarter is 3 months. Okay, let's talk about it. Every quarter is 3 months. The first GDP we get for month 1 is what's called the initial estimate. It has the most variance. The second one we get is called the first revision. It's the same month. It's the same quarter. The third one dropped today, finalizing for Q1 2025 at negative 0.5%. Okay, but in order for us to be in a recession, we would have to have a negative Q4 2024, which we don't have. This month we haven't even gotten the initial estimate for GDP yet, or for this current quarter we haven't even gotten the initial estimate for it yet. So we don't know what this quarter is going to be, but we do know it's probably not going to be negative. Look at the NASDAQ tumble down here. Wow, look at this, 22,538. So the point is, unless this current quarter is negative for GDP, which it probably isn't, we're not in a recession. What this does is push the odds of a rate cut up more. Nvidia dipping down here. So again, markets were at all-time highs. I might buy this dip. It's a little crazy. I mean, sure. Let's try it. We're going to buy this dip. The range is still pretty small, honestly. So let's see if we get a little pop back up. There we go. All right. Got a little scalp in there. Green on the day. We'll take it. And so again, everybody saying, oh, we're in a recession. No, we didn't have a negative Q4 2024. This is the finalized version of Q1, which is last quarter. And yes, we are technically in Q2, but we haven't even had the initial estimate for Q2 yet. And if we look at like something like the Fed GDP now, which is wildly inaccurate, I think it says we're gaining 4% for GDP. And so not really a recession. Anyways, if you want to check out Top Step, they're a great sponsor of mine. They give you a 50K demo. If you want to learn to day trade, just do not risk your own account tens of thousands of dollars funding it. It makes no sense. Most day traders lose. You got to understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm biased because some of the links I post are affiliate links, but most day traders lose money. I can't guarantee anything, but if you want to learn to day trade, do not fund your own account 5, 10, 20, 30 grand. It makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. You're going to lose a huge chunk of that, if not all of that. Instead, try Top Step. It teaches you how to trade. Tons of great resources. It's $50 a month. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split, and they pay out millions and millions of dollars to their traders. And learning in this environment where you're still risking something, but not 5, 10, 20, 30 grand, like a lot of new traders end up losing, makes sense. You're still probably going to lose in the beginning, but it's going to teach you how to trade with risking something, but not the full extent. And if you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 100K funded account, 150K funded account, 90% split. And prior to that split kicking in, you get to keep your first 10K in profit. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, commodities, gold. Patterns are very similar to blue chip stock patterns as well. Just a great way to learn. But they're an affiliate of mine. I get paid by them, so I'm biased. If you want to check it out, I'll put the link up. I'll also pin it to the top of the chat. I appreciate it. And yeah, remember, guys, stick around. We're going to be trading live at the opening bell here. Interesting GDP report for sure. We're going to pin this to the top of the chat as well. Interesting GDP report. You aren't having a recession with unemployment still historically low. Well, I mean, that's where I might disagree with you. You know, I don't think we're in a recession right now. But I don't think unemployment plays a factor in whether we're in a recession or not. It just doesn't. The textbook technical definition of a recession is 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. All right. This is quarter 1, 2025, confirmed at negative 0.5% today. That's what we got today. Confirmed negative quarter 1, 2025, negative quarter. But we haven't had a negative quarter 2 yet, and it's not looking like this quarter is going to be negative. Now, something that you want to pay attention to, if we get some bad tariff news, if we get bad updates to stuff like that, if we get a reversal of the optimism, that's a situation in which it could be speculated to be more plausible that we're going to have a recession this year. It's still less likely. It's still not super high odds, but it's possible. While it's not probable, it's possible. And again, if you want to help support your boy here, check out my X page. We post these numbers as soon as they come out at Beginner Trades. You're welcome. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Yeah, I know, but we're looking at the textbook definition. I couldn't live in a country with 7% interest rates on house plans. That's dictatorship of banks. I mean, 7% is not even like crazy above average relative to the 30-year average, 40-year average in interest rates. Now, for the last 15 years, yeah, it's a little high, but that's just because we got a super low interest rate environment following 2008 to try to stimulate the economy from a big recession. And so people are so used to 2-3% right now, but 6-7%, not historically crazy high, right? Like, here's an example, okay? Let me give you guys some charts. Okay, so here's a chart for the blue line is the 30-year mortgage rate. The green line is 15-year mortgage rates. All right, let me put this up on chat. So again, people say that interest rates are crazy high right now. Let's talk about it. Okay, let me get this out the way. So again, this blue line right here, 30-year. Okay, we are right here. All right, here is since 1975. So again, you can kind of see, while like the market's not really used to this since 2008, the low interest rate environment of 2008, it's not like we're up here. You know, the problem is that people are so used to low interest rate environments over the last, again, here's 2008. As I said, following 2008, we got super low interest rates because the Federal Reserve cut interest rates down to almost zero. They did a bunch of economic stimulus like quantitative easing and a form of money printing in 2008 and beyond to try to help the U.S. economy bounce back. And so people are just really used to low interest rates right now. But we're not, if we look at it objectively, we are not crazy amounts above average. We are here now, right? Like you can see how bad it got in the early 80s. Like look at that. It got up to 20% almost. So you got to look at it from that context. Again, it's still high. It's still not good right now. And people are still struggling because of this. Don't get it twisted. But are we crazy high above average? No, we're not. All right. So sometimes the first move is the wrong move. We'll see if it is. House prices were lower. Well, yeah, because this was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Of course, house prices were lower. Prices for everything were lower, That's how it goes. Inflation happens. Inflation grows at 2, 3, 4% a year on average. So, listen, I feel you. But again, here's the problem, okay? Like, let's just talk about this. People saying inflation, prices are too high. That's an argument against rate cuts. That's an argument against bringing interest rates down, not for. You want to know why Powell hasn't cut rates yet? He says inflation's still a risk. The Federal Reserve balances these two things. Okay, so one side of balance is, hey, don't let the U.S. economy and labor market fail. or struggle. And so dual mandate by the Fed, thriving labor market, price stability. Low inflation and a good economy, basically, is what they want. Now, both of those things can contradict each other. If we have too thriving of an economy, what happens? People spend money, prices go up. If we have too high of inflation, what happens? People are generally unhappy. And so both sides of those things are not good. Now, if the Fed lowers rates too much and does too much economic stimulus to bring interest rates down, the consequence is going to be inflation. And so it's not like you can get one. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have a low interest rate environment and low inflation. It's just not how it goes. You can have balance between the two, but when you get too pivoted to one side, the other side sprouts up and vice versa. And so yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's probably true. Buying a house is a better deal for our parents. I could agree with that. All I'm saying is the interest rates we're currently at now are not super high objectively relative to the relative to the 80s, even like the 2000s, even the 90s, we had higher interest rates than this usually. They didn't really start going down until 2008. All right, so we got Goolsby speaking right now. He says the job market remains steady and around full employment. I think this might increase the odds of a rate cut, though. Let's see. Surprised the rate cut odds haven't increased more. We're still sitting at 25% odds of a cut by next month. Not by next month, by the end of next month. 24.8% likelihood of a cut by next month. Or during next month's meeting, I mean. Median home price has only gone up 5.3% year over year since 1970. Is that true? Somebody says this. I don't know. 5.3% year over year since 1970. Oh, you're talking about year over year. So you're talking about 5.3% every year. That might be true. All right, so look at this rebound back up here. Yeah, so nominal appreciation has averaged around 5.1 to 5.4% year over year. Real appreciation adjusted for inflation is typically lower, averaging around 2.73% year over year. So depends on whether you calculate inflation into that. Over the last 10 years, home prices have increased around 6 to 7% per year on average. So all right, NASDAQ starting to come back higher here. All right, so the Fed's bargain says Fed policy is well positioned for where the economy might go. I kind of want to short this, but who knows, man? Let me see. It might increase the odds of a rate cut. Let's try it. We're going to short again. We might add one position to this, but we'll see. There we go. Nice. All right, we're going to cut that there too. See if we get a little pop back up. Slowly grinding it back up here. But again, Fed's bargain says Fed policy is well positioned for where the economy might go. If we look at the Atlanta Fed now, we don't get that today. Tomorrow at 11:30, we get Atlanta Fed GDP now for Q2. Last time they said 3.4% gain. And again, stick around. We are going to be day trading. Yeah, so GDP cooled a little bit now, guys. Yeah, so the GDP report is out. We're going to be day trading live at the opening bell, so stick around. We got jobless claims being out already. Jobless claims actually showed a little bit better than expected at 236. So jobless claims, the amount of people filing for unemployment week to week decreased at the rate at which they, 236 for initial claims. Slowed is a better word for it. Slowed. So. All right, chat. We're going to be day trading the market open live here. I don't know if I want to short this. And the GDP came in worse than we thought, but can we get some more upbeat music? Music's pretty upbeat. Durable goods doing so well. Looks like the economy might have recovered. Yeah, I mean, that's true. 10 a.m. home sales. Yeah, for sure. We got 10 a.m. home sales. What does WP mean, Sam? I was going to short this, but it's a little too late right now. At least we got in and out quick. All right, so the Fed's daily. So we got 3 different Fed members putting out quotes. Says new data confirms U.S. labor market is solid. Labor market data does not signal weakness, just slowing. Personally, I have an issue with how they spell labor, okay? We're not in Europe here. We're in the U.S. We spell labor L-A-B-O-R. L-A-B-O-R. All right, but look. Just joking. But look, this is what Daily said. New data confirms U.S. labor market is solid. Labor market data does not signal weakness, just slowing. All right, so we got another little pop up here. I'm going to short this little pop, I think, again. We got a cushion on the day, and we could probably attack another little bounce here if we don't get rejected quickly. There we go. We'll hold this break even now since we got some ticks in our direction. I'd love for it to keep dropping, but here we go. All right, so we're gonna hold it break even. Hopefully it keeps dropping though. We're in the kind of cushion building stage in my funded account here. Don't you do it. Turn back down. There we go. That's better. Keep going down. Let's see if it keeps dropping. Let's see if it comes down more. There we go. We're going sideways at this point. All right, Gallup and ExxonMobil buy 14 million barrels. Okay. We're up about 12 to 15 ticks here. I'm just going to cut it there. Could have maybe held it, but I'm in the kind of, it's not really doing anything. It's taking too long to break down. I'd have preferred it to break down already. So, and look at Nvidia come down here. So, yeah, no, all good, Sam. I'm just kind of messing with you, bro. For me, where I have to kind of look at gold come down here too. Interesting. Yeah, let me know if the music's at a good level. I'm still watching the odds for rate cuts in July to see if they're changing anymore. I haven't really necessarily seen them. I'm sure with this data, we're going to have a weaker. Let me take a look at TNX here. I'm sure we're going to be weaker on this data, right? Like I would assume so. So 730. Weird. We initially went up on this data. Very strange. You know, maybe the jobless claims being stronger and the durable goods being strong caused this little pop up in interest, or not interest, in the 10-year. This is the 10-year gauge. Is what this is. So. All right, so Fed's Goolsby saying some stuff. He said if inflation stays in the range of 2% and the uncertainty is resolved, the Fed is on a path to lowering interest rates. He said the Fed is waiting for more information on inflation, and it's possible that tariffs will only have a modest impact on inflation. He said an early announcement by the president of Jerome Powell's replacement would have no impact on FOMC. And also, Fed's Daily said the Fed is still waiting for more inflation updates. So, should have held that short. All right, Nvidia's starting to come back up. Hey, later, Sam. Have a good day, bro. All right, Chad, we got 35 minutes until the market open. 35 minutes. GDP data, very interesting report. All right, so we're rebounding up. I'm watching Nvidia. Nvidia is still pretty close to all-time highs, so shorting for too long is not necessarily something I'm hyper interested in. And so, yeah. Again, it's just not something I'm hyper. Not necessarily something I'm hyper interested in. Look at yields come down though, so that's interesting. Look at yields drop. Yields at 4.26%. 4.26%. All right, guys, so we're at 544s here, 544s. Nvidia at 156. We got 30 minutes until the open. All right, so we're still pumping back up. Here's 550. Let's talk about some levels here. I'm looking at 550 right here. We have this isolated level right here at 565. I think we got to pay attention to. We got this isolated low down here. We're going to call it maybe like 525. And those are the three that we're looking at in recent range here. We'll see if 550 holds or rejects. It's a kind of a whole dollar milestone level. And so we're definitely looking at this. And yeah, we'll see if we get it. All right, so we're back over that now. All right, so we're back up here. Again, we're watching this isolated level up here at 565s. I'm seeing some other oil news come out, but now we're moving back down to 550. Look at the yields continue to fall. So yields are currently at 4.26%. If we dip underneath this and then bounce back to 550, we might short it, but we need another candle at least. So all right, so look at that big dip. I need a bounce and I'll short it, but I need a confirmation bounce here. Look at this big drop. Let me make sure that nothing else is going on right now. That's the 8 a.m. scrum maybe, or the 9 a.m. scrum, I should say. All right, so the Fed's hammock doesn't comment on economic or monetary policy and remarks. So he didn't comment on anything. All right, so look at this dip. I need a bounce. I'm going to put a 5-minute chart back up, I think, here. So we'll see if that works. All right, so the president is pushing for rollback of EU climate rules, according to the Wall Street Journal. That news is coming out. We have a video coming out after this video ends, or after the stream ends, detailing kind of what I use and what I've been using recently. Let's see if we get a little pop that we can attack, though. We got a little bounce here. I need a little bit more, though. If we get a bounce up to like 545, we'll short that using potentially 550 in the isolated high up there at 557. But we need a rebound here, and if not, it's all right. We're looking for 525s. So I don't know if we're gonna get it. That's all right. We just gotta wait for it. But the sentiment was correct. All right. So Barkett is still speaking. He said tariffs won't translate evenly into the economy. He said, I'm not surprised to see near-term inflation expectations rise. We didn't quite get the move we wanted here. I do want to short, but I need a bounce. We just haven't really got one yet. We're green on the day nonetheless. And again, Fed's Barkin says it's hard for businesses to know where tariffs stand. Doesn't think tariffs will be as inflationary as some fear. And inflation expectations matter a great deal. Nvidia still dipping. Yield still falling on weaker economics. We got a little pop back up here, though. We need a larger bounce, though. Not quite what we want. All right, so I'm going to end this poll. And we're going to do another poll coming through. And the poll is going to say, with a finalized negative 0.5% GDP print for quarter one, does the U.S. enter a recession sometime this year? I think it's a reasonable question here. Reasonable question. I don't know either. I don't know the answer. Maybe. All right, guys, we got 25 minutes. I'm going to short this now. I think we're going to finally jump in short. See if we can catch some obvious momentum. On the downside, maybe add one micro contract to it. We got a little cushion we can play with into the opening bell. We're going to add here. See if we get a rejection. We're green now, which is good. There we go. Take half off, just protect the trade, lock it in. Probably hold the rest close to break even, although I do want to give it a little bit more time. Nice. We already cut that right there. We just got the really nice rejection where we wanted it. We waited for a small bounce and we called it. There's too much of a chance that we're going to fill this little up wick, though, so that's kind of what I'm waiting on. We might just continue to break down to the 625s, but we're just trying to build up a small cushion profit leading into the open. With the data they have, they can prevent it with a 50 basis point cut. Maybe. Circle, yeah. Circle's moving. You guys think we keep dropping? All right, so according to some reports, DeepSeek's progress is stalled, according to the information. All right, so we're still dropping here. Nvidia is still coming down, testing 156. All right, guys, we got 20 minutes into the opening bell where we're going to day trade live. Let's see what we get. The Fed's barking says the Fed would act on policy based on how data comes in. And again, U.S. chip export curbs may slow China's adoption of DeepSeek's next model, according to the information. So. All right, so still rebounding some. Again, Fed's market says it's hard for businesses. Oh, I think, okay, we already covered that. All right, so the U.S. 5 to 30-year curve tops 101 BP, steepest since 2021. All right, we are rebounding back up some. We're trying to be a little bit more selective with our trades. Trying to be. Like, I don't want to just jump in, but we've been pretty accurate. Last 3 or 4 trades have been green. Chart withdrawal. Where's Circle at? I know Circle started to come back down yesterday here. So, like, look, here's Circle. It got all the way down under 200s, apparently. You can see kind of Circle's chart on the top right here. So it got down under 200s. It's now at 211s. 211s. And you get Nvidia. These tunes sound like Harry Max. I've seen some of his videos. The problem, like, look, is he's a little bit too... I can respect his freestyling ability. He's a little too corny for me. But he's good. I give him his credit. He's definitely, you know, famous, and props to him. He's probably makes more money than I do, so cheers to Harry Mack. I'm just, like, I'm from Louisiana, and so we got, like, a big music hub there. And so, like, you know. I think it's time for one red day. I think maybe that could happen. Like, we could have a red day today. I mean, we're definitely down some. And it could be, you could argue extension on the upside. We've been breaking highs for a few days now. Now, it depends on which highs you're talking about. Like, if we look at a longer term NASDAQ chart here, like if I put up a daily chart, a lot of people are going to argue these are the all-time highs, 870. So if that's the case, we still haven't broken that. But by a lot of other charts, we have. So a lot of other charts basically stated like we broke all-time highs yesterday and this morning. And Nvidia broke all-time highs as well. Nvidia back up to 150s. So all that's good and fine. Nvidia new all-time high 157s. So And again, Nvidia turning down. I don't know if it's the chip news or not. Yeah, baggy pants are back in style. I wonder if Jinko's had a stock, if it would be up. I'm curious. Who knows? And I mean, here's one of those ways, like, look, we called this red action. And so we did a post today. As soon as GDP came out, we said today's GDP came in quarter over quarter minus 0.5%. Jobless claims showed up lower. Durable goods showed up higher. But I still thought we would have red charts. And if you look at the GIF I posted, and it is GIF, it's not GIF. Some people call them GIFs, but it's not graphics, it's graphics. So it's a GIF. Anyways, if you look at the GIF I posted, it says getting ready to look at red charts. And that's precisely what we got. You know, again, negative 0.5% GDP print. Not a shock the market reacted negatively, regardless of what jobless claims were. It means we could be heading towards a recession. Not quite there yet, but, you know, still. How did you avoid the famous Louisiana accent as your family from more northern states? You want my social security number? No, I'm just joking, kind of. But honestly, I do like, okay, this is why I don't have as big of a Louisiana. Some people might be able to hear it, but number one, I'm from the city, from Baton Rouge. And so my accent's not going to be as heavy. It kicks in when I talk to other people from Louisiana, believe it or not. But I've been running the stream for long enough to where it dulls my accent, I think, a little bit. So it just depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to a bunch of people on YouTube, there's a negative stigma around Southern accents. And so I think over time, my accent's just kind of gone away just because I talk so much on the stream. And yeah. Okay, buddy, so explain giraffe. Right. I understand that, Kevin. What I'm saying is that the G in GIF stands for graphics. G. With a G. Now, some uses of the word G might give you a J sound. But in this context, the abbreviation GIF is graphics interface. And so it's not graphics, it's graphics. Okay? So thus it's pronounced GIF, not GIF. You're welcome. How high is the chance of a rate cut in July? It's at 25% right now, roughly. It's like 24.8%, 24.7%. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Louisiana, you know, but I'm from the city in Louisiana. And so my accent is not that heavy. I've lived in Houston for over, for 10 years now. So I don't have the Louisiana accent anymore. My wife has a little bit more of it, but I think she just speaks like, honestly, it's crazy because when I first met my wife, I had more of an accent than she did. And if you listen to my really, really old videos, you might be able to hear it. But yeah. All right, so we're getting some conflicting information getting reported right now here, chat. So we're getting some conflict news getting reported. One of the reports says that prior to the strikes, they moved the uranium from the Fort Dow facility prior to the strikes, according to EU Capitals via Financial Times. All right, so that's one of the reports we got from Financial Times. The second report says the U.S. president posts that nothing was taken out of the facility. And so basically conflicting reports are dropping right now. Look at the NASDAQ pop here. Look at this big bounce. Wow, look at this. Something's going on right now. Some type of news is happening here. And so one report said that they took stuff out of it prior to the strikes. Another report states that nothing was taken out by the current president. Look at 550 hold. And again, we got a video on how we find these levels, chat, coming out right after today's stream. Right after today's stream, we got a video coming out. So just be ready. Be ready. Like Jeff in geography. Yeah, listen, I'm not arguing that sometimes G makes the J sound. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is that graphics doesn't, which is what the abbreviation is for GIF. It's all love here, though. From a fellow tech nerd, it's all love. I will play a short today. All right, guys. Hey, be ready. $12 minutes until the market opens, guys. 12 minutes, 11 minutes, really. You are the legit goat on levels. Hey, shout out to this guy. I'm going to leave this one up for a little while. All right, so we rejected right here at that 550 level we talked about. Definitely top 3-ish in the world level drawer ever. Top 3 for sure. Worst level drawer on YouTube. Yeah, so Circle's still making some moves up, but I honestly, I really thought about buying a put option on this one. I just didn't. Too recent IPO is what stopped me. But in hindsight, it ended up dipping down 30% from this. So I'm still kind of bummed I didn't. Would have made 30%. But hey, hindsight's 2020, right? Apple's still consolidating sideways here. AMD pulling back. Nvidia still trying to get up. Gold going down a little bit. Oil moving up a little bit here. Tesla, is that what's dropping markets? Yeah, Tesla falling down quickly here. Look at Tesla. It's at 323s right now, chat. 323s. Looking rough. How you draw that level? I just do. It doesn't mean we're going to hold every time, by the way. Like, we might rip over it. It's not like the level. If all the levels just never, if we never got over or under any of the levels I draw, the market would just go like this. You know, not a reasonable expectation. I also never attack the retest. So what I've noticed is that sometimes the first level holds the first time, and then the retest, I never mess with that. Like, I never attack the retest. If I'm looking to short, like at this level as an example here, like I never short the retest because the retest is the much more higher percentage break, you know, if that makes sense. All right, so Bank of America month-end FX rebalancing says our analysis suggests moderate USD and GDP inflows versus Europe and EM outflows. Someone checked Google Maps and saw trucks moving stuff out. Really interesting. All right, we're back under that 550 level, so we are keeping an eye on it. Galaxy HQ raises 175 million for their first venture fund. All right, so prelim intelligence assessment suggests Tehran retains much of its highly enriched uranium stockpile, according to Financial Times. Interesting. What levels do you put on when it breaks all-time highs? I don't know, man. I know what levels. We use a mix of half and whole dollars. Again, we got a stream coming soon after this one's over, or a video coming soon after this one's over. So. All right, so the president reiterated that the NATO summit was great and the agreed to 5% gives NATO real power. Do you guys agree with this? Tesla rebounding back up some, though. All right, we're looking at 265. We got this isolated level up here now. We also might have, like, if we look at a double bottom right here at like 555s, 556 here, you know, you can kind of see bottom here. And so we're looking at that as well. But here's 550, so we'll see if that holds too. Are we still arguing about how to pronounce GIF? Again, G stands for graphics. Okay, guys, graphics. All right. We could argue that it should be graphics, but I'm going to end my debate on it at that. Again, still looking at 25%. Look, 25%. If we take a look at yields as we speak here, yields currently 4.275%. They've been moving a little bit since early this morning, but they have decreased since GDP came in negative. So GDP was confirmed negative for quarter 1 2025. I'm not really getting annoyed. I'm just kind of making fun. Honestly, it gives me something to talk about. Tesla's starting to rebound back up here. So look at Tesla. Tesla back up to 325s. Let's see if 325 rejects it right here. It's a big upwick showing weakness. All right, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Is it weird for you that we all know your name, John, and you probably don't know who I am? I know who you are. You're IAD, whatever it is. Honestly, one thing that you'll see me do, I never pronounce words that I don't know the meaning of, even if it's in somebody's name, because I feel like somebody's going to try to trick me into saying something I shouldn't. And so I usually abbreviate them in some way. Tesla to zero? I don't know about that, but maybe. But you guys have names. Y'all are my internet friends here. You know, all 1,000 of you here. My internet friends. All right, hey, we're at 555 here. Let's see if Tesla rejects 525. That's what I'm curious about. When do you think the tariff will start affecting us consumers and numbers? They're probably affecting things already. That's probably why we have the negative GDP print. And one of the reasons quarter 2 GDP is not necessarily predicted or outlook is hyper negative is because of the pause that we're currently in right now. So they're probably already affecting things. Yeah, man, my whole life people have always pronounced my full name, John London. Even when I went on Top Step TV, that's what they would always pronounce my full name. They'd be like, "Hey, John London," and everybody I knew always did that for some reason. I don't know why. Hey, we got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I guess it flows well, but is that a Lil Wayne quote? A Lil Wayne quote? I hear it. I see it. Real G's move in silence. Like lasagna? I see it. I'm from Louisiana, so I know the quote. I went on Top Step TV. So I guess it depends on your definition of TV. Conventional TV is dying anyway, Yeah, I don't even know what investment advice is. Not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. Understand everything on screen. I can't guarantee anything. We got 2 minutes left until the opening bell, guys. Y'all be safe. Here we go. We'll see how it goes. But we are now down under 550s. And look at that 555 level hold. So starting to move down here. Did the music stop? I think it did. All right. The problem with this playlist is that it's so big. All right, look at this breakdown starting to happen here. So we're at we're under 550s. A minute and a half left. I actually am a little Irish. Sigma. I'm a little Irish. I got some Irish in me for sure. I mean, my last name's London, so there's some interchanged Irish in there for sure. My beard is red. Sometimes. All right, and look at this big pop back up. So fake out's coming here. And again, I'm not really trading. We got a cushion into the opening bell I'm looking for. All right, here we go, guys. We got less than a minute. Let's see what we get. Interesting morning for sure. Negative GDP print. Yeah. Imports were high. Yeah. So Danny, you can put it in 2x speed. It'll completely get you around that. Just put it in 2x speed, Danny. He said there's an issue. It starts live. It gets delayed. Put it in 2x speed. You'll never be delayed again for the most part. Can't guarantee anything, but if you put it in 2x speed, it'll catch up every time you get delayed. All right, anyways, here's the opening bell, guys. Just put it in 2x speed. It'll stop you from getting delayed. All right, guys. So again, here's Nvidia on the bottom. It's at 156. Tesla's moving up at the opening bell. Nvidia's moving down. Again, Tesla's moving up. Nvidia's moving down. Look at Tesla rebound here. AMD and other microchip stocks are decreasing though. All right, so we went all the way up to 565s. And now we're contracting some. Microchips are coming down a little bit though. It's too close to the opening bell for me to like poke at this. But we'll see. Tesla's still ripping up, but microchips heading down here. Look at AMD at 144s, Nvidia down to 155s, Nasdaq falling down with it at 22,450. Look at the 65 level hold too. Red action coming in. We're about a minute and a half into the opening bell. All right, we're at 560s. Nvidia at 155s. Look at the upwicks and downwicks since the opening bell. We're 2 minutes into the day. You guys red or green so far? Tesla's ripping back up. Tesla at 330s right now. It's kind of backwards though. Like we got a lot of stuff moving up and then a lot of stuff moving down too. So it's hard to tell. Microsoft, for an instance, is up since the open. You could look at like Meta. Meta's up slightly since the open, but red action showing up. I was going to short that little bounce. I just didn't quite get it here. We're only 2 minutes into the open, though, so it's probably good to wait. All right, we're short again. There we go. Oh, my gosh. I accidentally just bought. And luckily, we got out. So we're green on that trade. Up nicely on this account. Look at this red show up though. So we just cracked lows. Not quite lows of the day, I think. I think we actually were slightly underneath it, but we're getting pretty close. Lows of the day are really, we opened up. Lows of the day are right around 22.5. So we still got a ways to go, but definitely lows of market open and lows of. I'm going to short this up here and then maybe add to this. See if we fall down some more. It's a big trap though, so I got to be kind of careful. Yeah, I got to cut some of this. What a huge rip back up. Let's see if we can get some flush down. There we go. Better. Such a weird move up. It probably faked out a lot of people. So much volatility here. There we go. Ready to keep this. Hold the rest break even. See if this can fall down some more. We got the momentum. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut it right there. All right, so far so good. That was a big retracement though. I think it made sense to short into it. But the only thing is like, okay, so AMD hit the previous closing price almost exactly off of it at 143.50 here. Nvidia starting to rebound back up to some. So yeah, Micron already posted EPS and earnings yesterday. Why does my music keep stopping, dude? Just tried the 2x speed, and now I know what you're going to say before you say it. That's what I'm saying, man. 2x speed. You're welcome. That's what you do. You know, again, you put in 2x speed, you'll catch up. Do I want to short this little pop here? I don't know, man. If Nvidia does a red to green move, we might get some upward momentum. We're 5 minutes into the day. Still trying. Maybe I should have shorted. Fed's Barkin says, I question how successful businesses will be in trying to pass through tariff increases. He said there are still pockets of shortages in the job market. Possible neutral rate estimate will creep up over time, and policy may not be that restrictive and consumption steady. NASDAQ's testing the low of open again. Didn't quite break it, though, but it's still trying to break down. I could short this little level here, but the momentum's breaking down. IO and Q and Quantum. Where are Quantum stocks doing? I haven't really watched them yet. Quantum still running, of course. RGTI at an interesting level. Is the Dow up? Look at the breakdown here. We're at 22.5s. This honestly might be kind of a buy level, though. Hold on, let me see. We're at 22.5s. All right, we're going to try to buy this. I just want to see a retracement up quick, but I got to be careful. We got a little one. Let's see if we can get a bigger one here. There we go. I'm going to get out there, but while it retests it. But we made a little bit. That's 22.5s right there. Yes. Out. Really nice gain. Really nice gain there. that huge bounce at 22.5s. Again, we got a video breaking down how we find these levels. We talked about 22.5s right here. There's 22.5, this yellow line is 22.5. Makes sense. And look at 24 here too. There's 25. Look at that. Pretty simple, honestly, how we find these levels, but and this is where documenting good levels makes sense, right? Because like even if we continue down, that's not what it's about. Like it's about identifying where the highest probability of a bounce is. And I think 22.5, big milestone level. That's the reason I bought there. It's fun to see the people doubting the trade, try to talk smack, and then, you know, again, we're out already, but there is any new nothing, so no reason for the market to go up. Yeah, but I mean, you don't need a reason for the market to go up, brother. The biggest statistical edge is on the upside long-term in markets. You know, it's one of the things like short traders don't understand super well, especially long-term shorts, is that over time, the market's going to go up. Regardless of crashes, regardless of corrections, regardless of bearish years, market's going up over time. And if you only look at it on the short side, it's the less statistical edge. And again, look, there's 22.5 again. And the point is, if you're shorting here, I'm not going to say it's not a smart move, but you're shorting something that's already really extended and hitting a major milestone level. And so just be smart with your shorts, or be smart with your shorts. Again, I can't guarantee anything though. And again, stick around. We got a video breaking down how we find these levels right after the stream's over. Cato, only fools deal in absolutes, sir. Especially if we're talking about short-term day trading. You know, market could go up, down, or sideways. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks, how good the strategy is, how good the levels are. Market might just dump down. Market might just rip up. You know, it can go up, down, and sideways. Nothing freaking matters. The variance is so high with day trading, with market movement, with the patterns. Yes, it looks like we're in a bearish trend for sure, especially since GDP came out negative, right? But it doesn't mean the market's always going to go down. And if anything, we've been testing all-time highs. And so, you know, again, market could come down now and break 22.5 or whatever. That's not the point of the trade. The point of the trade is that it bounces here, where at the 22.5 level we talked about, and then it rejected at 22 at this level as well. It's not about that. Market can certainly keep coming down. That's not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is that long-term, market's going up. The longer you hold a short position long-term, and when I say long-term, I mean months or years, the less likely you are to make money. The longer you hold a long position long-term, the more likely you are to make money. And this is just because over a century of market data tells you that the market's going to average 10% a year, 8 to 10%. And so if you try to play against that edge, it's a riskier thing for sure. Some people can do it successfully. And when they do, they make movies about them because it's so freaking rare, like The Big Short. But you got to understand what the true edge in markets is, which is long-term compound interest. That's what big money does with it. Like I was explaining this to my wife, right? Like if you see a bank pay you like a CD, a certified deposit, what do you think they're doing? Right? They are taking your money. Like say you get a CD for 100K, and that CD is going to pay you 4%, 3%, 3.5%, whatever they decide to pay you. What do you think they're doing? They're taking your 100K and they're sticking it in the market, and they're going to average 10% returns because they got time. And then they're going to pay you 4% and keep the other 6, you know, like that's what they're doing. And so That's what these banks are doing with your money, is that they're sticking the money in the market long term, and they're earning 8 to 10% a year, and then they're going to pay you 3.5 or 4% on your CDs or on your treasuries or whatever it is. And that's how they make money, because they have time on their hands. They can continue to, sit on money long term and take advantage of that big statistical edge. And so this is something that big money understands more than anybody else, because they've got time. They can wait. You can try to predict crashes, and that's fine. But most of the time, the market is not going to crash, and most of the time, the market's going to consistently go up. Not always, but there's only been an example of a statistic that kind of reinforces what I'm saying, is that there's only been, I think it's either 2 or 3 times in history where we've had a longer than 2-year bear market. So the market has only gone down for over 2 years in a row, 2 or 3 times in history. And so it's not common at all. It's incredibly rare. And people who lose the most are generally people who get emotional and sell during the crashes, right? And so you got to understand that. And again, not an investment professional. I can't guarantee anything. Maybe the market crashes today or tomorrow or whatever. I have no idea. But you got to understand what the true edge is. And again, this is something that big money understands more than anybody else. What were those 2 times .com crash in 2000? 1929 stock market crash. There might have been a couple other ones. I have to go back and look. But adjusted for inflation. Well, everything adjusted for inflation is a losing game. The whole point of investing is to hedge against inflation. Because if you don't hedge against inflation and take advantage of that 8 to 10% return yearly, you're going to lose your buying power over time significantly. And so you can sit on cash. I don't think that's necessarily smart, but do what you want to do. All right, so again, we bounced right at 22.5s, heading back up now. We are in a downward trend. I mean, don't get me twisted here. Like, we are in a downward trend. It's a downward trend, but anything could happen. We'll see. All right, so let's see if we can get under this 22.5 level. This is like the 4th or 5th test of it. There's a big wall of buyers stepping in right at 22.5, and that's why looking for these milestone levels makes sense. But if we do break underneath it here and we move back up, it could hold as resistance. That's possible, when we can go down maybe to this 450 level. And this 450 level is a very big milestone level. I think that was the previous all-time high in the NASDAQ prior to the recent high breaks. I think it was 22,450. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was that level. 22.5 still holding up, though. Let's see if it comes down. You better believe, though, we break 22.5, somebody's going to show up and be like, see, bro, I told you. But again, they're missing the point of what I'm saying, which is that I'm trying to look for this initial bounce here, because I think this is a big edge to attack. If you know where the big milestone level is, you can ride it up and capitalize on the major level. Yeah, that 22.5 level, it held, but it's not, it's, you know, the more times it tests, the less likely to hold it is, but we'll see. We're kind of going sideways right now. Interesting enough, the level confirmed by the volume profile. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, think about it like this, right? And this is something I explained in the video that I have coming out in 13 minutes. Think about it like this, all right? Genuinely think about it. Technical day trading. All right, so look, we're finally under 22.5s. Let's see if we hold. But in technical day trading, what's the goal? The goal is to figure out what everybody else sees on the chart, right? That's the goal. Why? Because that's where the most interest, that's where the most trades, that's where the most strategies are taking place. And so if you can figure out what everybody else is looking at, you can find an edge in the market, right? But you got to figure out what everybody else is looking at. And so psychologically, what do people start to look for? They look for whole dollar numbers. They look for very obvious levels, like super isolated highs and lows, so forth and so on, right? And so that's what my like support and resistance levels have to do with, is how obvious is the level. And with that, going back to the volume profile, it makes sense because you're going to have the most volume at those obvious levels, because those are the levels people are basing their trades around, and they're going to get into more trades around the obvious levels, if that makes sense. It's all self-fulfilling, but nice, Faye. Congrats. My nose is still stopped up. Still at this level here. And if you haven't already, check out Top Step. Top Step is a beautiful way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose money. So if you put up your own money, you're probably going to lose. Instead, Top Step gives you 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit on that demo without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, they fund you 50K with a 90% split. And again, most day traders lose money. And so limit your risk. Instead of depositing 5, 10, 20, 30 grand trying to look cool, you can instead risk $50, $100 for the middle one. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 100K funded account, 90% split. You get to keep your first 10K. And if you fail, you lose $50, $100. It's not the end of the world. They've paid out hundreds of millions. They fund thousands. No PDT in futures. It's the best way to learn. Best way to learn. And you can check out the link in the description as well as pinned at the top of the chat. We are starting to move down here. And again, I'm watching this 450 level. You know, if Nvidia continues to break down, the next level I'm looking at is 450 down here. So we'll see if that holds. But all right, so we do have existing home sales, I think. What do we have coming out? At 10. We have pending home sales coming out in 9 minutes, expected at 0.2%. So we'll see how that goes. But you can stick around. We got this video. What? We got this video premiering in 9 minutes, so stick around. We're going to cover that and then pivot to the premiere. I might mute the music real quick, just for a second, as I check something here. All right, so look at this rebound back up. Let's see if 22.5s holds here, chat. 22.5s. We do have Rigetti is a great longer short-term buy for under 2,000. Maybe. Yes, we got pending home sales at 10 a.m. 7 minutes. All right, so look at 22 fives here. We're retesting 22 fives. So we're retesting 22.5. Let's see if it holds. Back over 22 fives. Nvidia's starting to rebound, which is what's dragging it up. Like Nvidia's kind of sideways, but it's slight downward trend. What's the fastest you did a challenge account? A day, an hour or two, maybe, or maybe 2 days. I think you have to have at least 2 days. So probably 2 days. Roku going up. I'm not a big fan of Roku just because, like, I think Roku. The issue with Roku is that it's pivoted to software, and I think since it's pivoted to software away from the Roku sticks, I think uh, I think other TV brands are going to create their own Roku type software that kind of copies Roku, and so Roku's going to over time lose market share, is what I believe. But I think the service is useful. I'm not a big fan of buying their stock necessarily. So Roku's had a bad long term trend. It was at 500s back in 2021. It's now at $84 a share. So just not a big fan of it. I think over time it's going to lose market share. All right, so we're over 22.5 again. We're kind of moving sideways, and part of this is due to Nvidia rebounding back up some. You see Palantir has had a pretty good morning. It's at 148 highs now, 146 currently. AMC GameStop. Quantum is an interesting technology, and it's in a dip right now. So quantum stocks, like if we look at like Rigetti, a lot of quantum stocks are in a pullback zone. So if we put up a daily chart, we had a dip, rebound, dip. So as long as you don't get any bad news in quantum, it could be an interesting buy area. I'm looking at 22,450. I think 22,450 is a really big milestone level. A really big milestone level. To me, on the chart, it was the previous all-time highs. All right, so we're creeping up. Nvidia at 155s. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes. Slowing down some. Again, pending home sales in 3 minutes. At 3 minutes. Hmm. All right, so we're at 525s now. Let's see if this level holds. And again, in 3 minutes, look at Meta. Meta's starting to rip up. In 3 minutes, we talk about how we find these levels in a more detailed video. So stick around. When the video starts, hit the like button. I appreciate it. Watch the video to the end. It gives you some really great information. Can't guarantee anything, though. Not an investment professional. I'm really liking my new camera, though. My new camera is honestly really solid. All right, so pending home sales, we got 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Getting close. Microsoft's rebounding. Meta's rebounding. Nvidia's rebounding back up. All right, here we go. We got about 2 minutes left. All right, guys, 2 minutes. Very nice green day for me in the books. Like, I'm very happy to be green today. I've only had 2 or 3 losing days this month in June on my main funded account that you guys see. And you can kind of see how different I trade my actual funded account. Like the last few days, I've been playing around with challenge accounts and combines. But when I trade my funded account, I'm much more calculated with it. We got less than 2 minutes left. All right, we're back over 525s right now, 525s. Nvidia's rebounding. All right, chat. We got a minute and 20 seconds or so. All right, here we go. You guys ready? The premiere is very soon, less than a minute. But we're gonna have pending home sales first. You guys ready? Here we go. We got about 23 seconds left until pending home sales start. I don't know if this is going to move markets. Well, we're going to cover pending home sales first, and then we're going to pivot to our video here. I'm going to make sure the pivot works too. Yes, sir, it does. All right, cool. All right, guys, 20 seconds. 20 seconds until pending home sales drop. All right, guys. So pending home sales ended up showing up at 1.8% gain. And this is honestly making the market react positive. A 1.8% gain versus 0.2% expected. 1.8% gain in pending home sales versus 0.2% expected. Giving a little bit more optimism to markets, especially with Nvidia riding up some here. So, yeah. We got the premiere starting now. And so again, as soon as I end the stream, it should immediately premiere you there. If it doesn't premiere you to the video coming out, here's the link to that video right here. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, link is pinned to the top of the chat in the description. A great company, great way to learn how to day trade. But yeah, there's the link right here in chat. We just posted the link right there to the premiere. But again, as soon as we end the stream, it should automatically bring you to the premiere, just a heads up. But again, pending home sales, 1.8% versus 0.2% expected. So pretty solid, pretty solid. And yeah, I'll see you guys over there.